The neighborhood had a lot of kids in it when we first moved in, and now it's mostly the older generation. The day that Dec and Nasra first came to see the house, I was out in the yard. I thought, oh, the house has been rented again. And I thought, this is one of our first families of color in our block. And I wanted them to know that this was a welcoming neighborhood, that this was a neighborhood that people looked out for each other, people were good neighbors to each other, and that they were welcome in this neighborhood. And so I picked a big bowl of raspberries. Dec was sitting out on the porch step watching the kids play in the yard. So I took the berries over and handed them to Dec, and well, everybody was really excited. So that was kind of my first meeting of them, and every time the kids see me outside, they yell, "Hi, Carol, hi, Carol."
I want to introduce you to Dec and Nasra and their family.
Wonderful, and I think each time I look at the house, I think about all the volunteers that are helping with the new house.
We are so very grateful. All you are doing. I know you don't want me to do that, but I'm doing it anyway. Okay. We have been working very hard in this community for a very, very long time. No families that have
This double red line here. Right here,
we're building on Habitat Home here in Sauk Rapids for the Unity Build, and we're started with the construction a few days ago, and now we're moving on to the second floor, and things are moving pretty fast. We have a good crew. There's over 20 people here working today.
The Unity Build is new this year in the fact that we're trying to bring cultures, religions, and people of different races and neighborhoods together, because we strongly believe that if people work side by side and get to know people, it erases some of the fears and misconceptions of a different culture or a different religion. And so this is real important, that we can work together side by side to build the house.
No, it was awesome. I did work with Dec this morning, and he's a hard worker. You can tell he's really trying to learn how to do the construction and be a part of the build. And it's just wonderful to see the homeowners out here actively working on their own home and meeting the people that have helped them build the home.
Or like growing up, and my family, we were never like all that. We didn't have much money, but we always ended up helping a neighbor, because even in our religion in Islam, we're told to help your neighbors. You know, treat people how you want to be treated, and that's like one of the biggest things I follow.
I have worked with Dec for the last probably 7 years at South Junior High, and he is a Somali English interpreter, and I used to be the ESL teacher there. So he was in my classroom with me. We used him to call parents. He interacted with the community very well, and the reason why he was so invaluable to us is that he came to the United States when he was 15, and so he knows the American school system and he knows the Somali system. So he can interact well in both worlds, and the kids respect him and the teachers respect him, and he's an awesome guy. I thoroughly enjoyed working with him.
My job is called bilingual communications.
0-0.
There was a lot of gap between the teachers and between the people who come from the different backgrounds. I was working in the South for the last 7 years, trying to figure out between the parents and the teachers how that gap can be filled. And we did fill that kind of gaps in and helping to the parents in the system.
It's important to have him there because it helps us understand their culture. It helps them understand our culture. And I see students, I'm in the middle school, so I see students there, and they'll come back 5 years later and when they were with me in high school or in middle school, could barely write a complete sentence, and they'll come back 5 years later and they're on their way to college. And so it's a valuable tool to have in there to help those kids understand that they can be successful.
Our main thing is kids, our students, be succeed and lifetime learners.
Right now we're building a house. The connection to us personally is all of the girls here that are in my grade. We all went to South Junior High, and one of the administration there at South Junior High is going to be living in this house, so it kind of connects home, so it's very cool to us.
I'm an adoptee from South Korea, and I actually grew up like 3 blocks from the build site, the Build for Unity site. I was a little skeptical at first. It's just a normal habitat build, bringing different volunteers together. And honestly, it just seemed, oh, here's another event for diversity.
I think that when you're building a house in a community for a family, it just brings everyone together, like such as the neighbors who are next door who want to see what's happening. And the local businesses saying, okay, this is a Build for Unity house. How can we get involved? And I think it just connects that family more to the community, as far as the family being like, okay, I'm building this house, how can I get connected to this person or this person that's also in the local community?
And so for the Unity build, it particularly piqued my interest a little bit more because a family of color moving into my neighborhood, where I've basically been the only person of color for my entire life, piqued my interest. But then 2, this goes past and beyond, hopefully just, oh, here's another event, here's another diversity event. It's, let's go work together, maybe make a few connections, welcome this family really well. Well, now diversity is becoming your social structure. You know, this family's gonna be in the schools, they're gonna meet other families. All right, now this family lives next to me. Now this family mows their lawn next to me. Hey, now I can invite them over, now I can go and ask how their kids are, or bring them lunch.
I've always said that the public education system is where community begins. And it starts with our teachers, it starts with our administrators and the district, because we set the tone for our students. Love is the driving force of any community. It's deeply embedded in religion, culture, it's embedded in our legal system. It has to be everything that you do, it has to be with the intent of making a better society or a better world for our children. And that's one thing I value about Habitat for Humanity. And that's the thing with community, right? We are so used to perceiving one another, using one narrative. So if we can somehow learn to shift our perception and simply be open enough to receive a question, we change that narrative that we perceive the world with. Again, to tie it back to Habitat for Humanity and the people that I've worked with, they're setting an example for the community, and they're living it. They're practicing it. And they're not sitting in a meeting room talking about all that could be done, all that should be done. They're putting it in action. And that's what I see us teachers doing, right? They're living everything that they believe. Be willing, right? Be willing to engage, whether it's finance, whether it is time, whether it's your story. Be okay with, be willing to engage.